Quavo, Takeoff, they was down here with y'all. But they seen you walking by. He's laying on the ground. You got Mike bending down, and they seen you walking by. What took place there?
You were wrong about what you done. You was the root of being wrong that caused when Mike and Junior was walking by. He actually went in the restroom to wash blood off his hand where he had reached up under Takeoff. He had to pick him up.
And I'm going to tell you like this. If you're 60 years old and you're trying to be a street nigga, you failed.
Quavo and Takeoff were down in Houston that night, surrounded by familiar faces. But in the middle of the chaos, people noticed you, walking right past as Takeoff lay on the ground. Mike's bent over him, trying to help, but your steps never slowed. So what really happened in that moment? The truth is, this wasn't just a bad decision. It was the seed that grew into something far bigger, far darker. When Mike and Jay, Prince Jr. passed through the scene, Jr. slipped into the restroom. Not for a break, but to wash blood from his hands, blood he got while lifting Takeoff's body. And here's the reality. If you're 60 years old and still trying to live out a street persona, you've already lost. You're not prepared for what's about to hit. Because last night, the game changed. Mase dropped a bomb. The kind of leak that flips the entire hip-hop world upside down. A private conversation, never meant for the public, is now out in the open. And the streets? They're in shock. Houston is buzzing. Legends are scrambling. And the questions are only getting louder. Was this a calculated power play? A desperate move? Or the spark that's about to ignite truths the industry has tried to bury for years?
All that big homie stuff, that's for little niggas. Little niggas have big homies. We're not little.
By the time this story is over, you'll know exactly why Mase's leak is the biggest grenade to hit hip-hop in decades. Mase claims the conversation was between Jay, Prince Jr. and Takeoff, and it allegedly happened just hours before Takeoff was killed in Houston. When police arrived that night, they found a man already gone. That man was Kirsnick Ball, known to millions as Takeoff. The fallout? Nuclear. Jay, Prince Jr. is reportedly in panic mode. Full-scale damage control, cryptic social media posts, and a frantic push to control the narrative. But Pandora's box is open now, and there's no closing it. You think you know what went down that night? Think again. Because Mase's revelations may completely rewrite the story of loyalty, power, and who really pulls the strings in this game. Older figures in the game often don't realize when the rules have shifted. This isn't the old order anymore, and the younger generation isn't just falling in line. First, there's Jay, Prince Jr., heir to Houston's most infamous street empire. For years, his name's been tied to the check-in culture, a system marketed as protection for visiting artists. But that protection has been looking more and more like extortion. And now people are asking what happens when you don't play along.
People, they're the last to know that things have changed. We not your little niggas. Like, the way you talking, I don't get what you mean.
Once officers arrived, they came upon a male who was deceased. That male has been identified as Kirsnick Ball, better known as Takeoff.
There's Mase, Harlem's own, the man who walked away from Diddy in his prime, battled the machine, and returned stronger than ever. He's not looking for clout. He's built a career on exposing corruption. When Mase talks, people pay attention. And of course, Takeoff, the quiet genius of Migos. He stayed away from the drama, focused on the art, and honored the culture. His death was a loss that still reverberates. Finally, Cameron, sitting silently as Mase spoke. Normally careful with what he co-signs, Cam didn't stop him. That silence said everything. Mase describes the alleged conversation not as friendly, but as pressure. Jay, Prince Jr. demanding loyalty, hinting at unspoken rules, making it clear there were expectations Takeoff was supposed to meet. Mase says Prince's tone was sharp, controlling, a behind-the-scenes power play. And here's the chilling part. The call allegedly happened on the same night Takeoff lost his life outside that Houston bowling alley. Think about that timing. A young artist out with family, then a call from someone demanding a certain kind of respect. Hours later, shots are fired. Mase didn't release this lightly. He'd watched for months as Prince Jr. threw subliminal shots on podcasts, controlling the narrative. But when Prince took it too far, speaking on Offset and family loyalty, Mase decided it was time to speak. Mase says this wasn't an isolated situation. He paints it as part of a larger system, one where fear and intimidation are disguised as protection. If that's true, Takeoff's death might not have been random at all, but the result of a toxic power structure that values control over life itself.
Never respected in the streets. That's why I always got the problems I got.
The internet reacted instantly. Prince Jr.'s online posts came off less like confidence and more like desperation. Every cryptic threat, every defensive statement, every attempt to flip the script only made him look more cornered. The old tools, intimidation, silence, and respect by default, weren't working anymore. The streets weren't buying it, and neither was the industry. Things boiled over when Prince came for Offset, suggesting he wasn't there for Takeoff when it mattered. Offset fired back, defending his relationship with Takeoff and making it clear Prince had no right to speak on it.
The matter is, you wasn't really right there with Takeoff when he was alive. You know what I mean?
Y'all niggas speaking on my real brother. I don't know what y'all got with the y'all going on. Y'all on my real brother. How dare one of y'all speak on me and Tate relationship? I don't know you from a can of. Y'all niggas don't know how me and my brother rock.
Streets saw through it. The victim narrative Prince was pushing didn't match the facts. What happened next was wild. Social media became an open courtroom. Fans turned into detectives, piecing together timelines, connecting dots, and digging into old interviews. Cardi B and Offset used their platforms to call out the behavior directly. Hashtags like #MobTiesExposed and #JusticeForTakeoff began trending worldwide. The conversation wasn't just on hip-hop blogs, it was everywhere. And as the digging continued, old cases like Duke the Jeweler's death were re-examined. Same setup, an out-of-town artist, a check-in, a dice game, and a deadly ending. What was marketed as protection now looked like control. When multiple artists end up dead after following your rules, people start asking if those rules are meant to protect or trap. Even more suspicious, none of the princes attended Takeoff's funeral. Not one. Behind the scenes, allies began to distance themselves. Drake went silent. Jay-Z stopped taking calls. Labels quietly removed ties to Mob Ties from their press materials. The brand had become toxic. The patterns were impossible to ignore. Multiple deaths. Witness silence. Connections to the same circle. It was starting to look like the kind of activity federal investigators build RICO cases around. And Mase's leak? It may have just given them more fuel. Young artists are now rejecting the check-in system openly.
Saying that the alleged shooter and Takeoff from the Migos, DJ Pat out of Texas, was set free on bail today, $1 million bail.
Calling it what it looks like, extortion wrapped in tradition. Mase didn't just leak a phone call. He kicked off a cultural shift. He showed that intimidation-based power is fragile, and that truth has a way of coming to light. The question now isn't just whether Prince Jr. can recover. It's whether the whole system he represents can survive. Because once fear is gone, there's no going back. Takeoff deserved better. And maybe, just maybe, this is the start of better finally being possible.